Yes, I can.
Perfect. So, welcome everyone. So, today we are really happy to have you with us for this webinar, which is the Silk Route 2.0. So, with us, we have Abhay Gupta from India. Since 1 year and a half, Bharatiya Paris Club have been organizing a lot of webinars to see Indian market from the Western side. So we have already done a lot of webinars on Indian market, and with a lot of experts from Europe, from France, from other countries, mainly from Europe. Here today we have a great chance to have someone who is expert of Indian luxury market since almost 30 years, who has seen this evolution of Indian luxury market, who has worked for some of the biggest brand to help them to grow in India. And he has contributed 30 years of his life to from start of this journey of Indian luxury market to founding one of the first or maybe the only luxury specialized school in India. So we are happy to have Avay. The agenda of today's webinar. So it will start with an overview of Bharatiya Paris Club, and then we will pass to the introduction of Abhay Gupta, and then we'll pass to the third, which is the main subject of this webinar, which is the Silk Route 2.0. After that, we'll have maybe 15 to 30 minutes of questions and answers. So if you have questions, you may leave in the comments. The next one. So, what is Bharatiya Paris Club? So, Bharatiya Paris Club, Bharat in France. Sometimes we don't know, but Bharatiya means Indian. That means India before being colonized by British. It used to call Bharat by Indians, Hindustan by all these Middle East countries and African countries, and by French, and India by the English population. So Bharat is the real name of India for Indians. So we thought of calling it Bharatiya Paris Club because it's based in Paris. We are uh, we are a club and NGO which is registered in France. Partnership. So we started in 2023 when at the beginning of this rise of India as a economic power, and then as a diplomatic power, and also as the new market for the luxury brands. So luxury brands as of 2026, we know that the major market like China is slowing down, it's stagnating, and one of the best option that luxury brands have is to go to India, because India it's 1,400,000,000 population, with the third largest number of ultra high net worth individuals. The number of millionaires are going to double, like it's around 900,000 millionaires. It will double in 3 4 years, and it will continue to double every 3 4 5 years. So India is going to be the opportunity for luxury brands from Europe, if they can understand India. So what I have seen recently is earlier it was not probable to go to India. Now people are rushing, but they are not taking time to understand the Indian market, Indian culture, the Indian insights from the inside. Like we have tendency to see India from the European lenses, and it doesn't work. So that's why we are here to help to understand India the way it should be understood from inside. Now, what do we do? So we have double initiatives. We are in France, and then we are also present in India. In France, from beginning, what we are doing is to help develop the knowledge of Indian luxury market. So we do a lot of market research. We collaborate to do knowledge development of Indian market. We help brands to put in relation with the consultants, the experts of entering to Indian market, and also to develop in local Indian market. We also help with a lot of digital strategy, digital insights of Indian market. We India is a country of 5,000 years or even more of history. So everything which is related to culture, when we are talking about Indian luxury market is really important. So we have a lot of focus on cultural insights. We do a lot of events in physical events, online events. So like this event, and then we do a lot of networking events also, because we need to put people together, like all the experts. They need to meet to work together to develop Indian luxury market. And then in India, what we do is we try to support craftsmanship, handloom, jewelry, everything which is related to craftsmanship and handloom also. We also help Indian brands if they need Indian brands who dream to go to come to Paris or Europe. We help them with a strategy, with market, finding a boutique, finding right people. We also help Indian associations to organize events in Paris. So this is what we have been doing in India. We have good connection in political field, because it's required when we want to develop handloom and craftsmanship in India. We have been on the major newspapers and all, with many ministers. And then what one of the example of what we do in Paris is this fashion show which we had organized with state of Meghalaya. So what we did is we had invited someone, an actress from Meghalaya, to bring all many traditional clothes, many traditional dresses, and we organized a fashion show in Place Vendôme, at the center of luxury, in a hotel palace, and it was really really appreciated by the executives, by the French population. They loved the beauty of this Indian handloom of Meghalaya, and we are going to continue to do to mix Indian craftsmanship with Western fashion, and trying to do to develop both countries, like both side, on the French side, on Indian side also. I'll try to play this video. I don't know if it will work. Abhay, you'll tell me if you can hear it. This was the fashion show. We did it.
We cannot see the video.
No, I'll send it to everyone later. Okay, so this was the presentation of our Bhartiya Paris Club. So Abhay, now it's to you.
Thank you, Anish. You're very, very kind. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon to people in France. It's a fact that I spent nearly 30 odd years in the Indian luxury, formative years in the Indian luxury retail and fashion business. And incidentally, I started with a French brand called Lacoste, and it goes back nearly 3 decades. But nevertheless, the agendas of today's webinar is not to talk about me, but talk about the Indian Gen Z market and how they are shaping the future of not only the Indian market, but the global luxury market. So without much ado, I'm going to sort of ask for screen sharing rights, and I share my screen to share a presentation which I have made to make it simpler for you. But before I do that, I also want to sort of, make you aware of generally India as a country and India as a market, because there is a lot of what should I say, skepticism in terms of what India is, what the market is, and what's the size of the country. I'm not too sure how many of you are really aware of India as a country. India is not a country; it's a subcontinent, as some of you would know. It's a challenging place to be in. Why is it challenging? Is one of the initial parts of my conversation that I want to have with you to set the context right. And before I give you the bullet points, I want you to go through this small video which I came across just yesterday.
You don't know anything about India. India is not.
Everything, is it visible to everyone?
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
go
Abhay.
ahead.
You don't know anything about India. India is not a country. It's a civilization trying to function as one nation. 28 states, 8 union territories. Every border you cross, the language changes. Not accents, entire scripts. 22 officially recognized languages. Over 1,600 spoken dialects. People don't just speak differently. They think differently, pray differently, eat differently, marry differently. Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, Sikhism, Buddhism, Jainism, Judaism, Zoroastrianism. Not as footnotes, but as living, breathing communities. Jews in India for over 2,000 years, never expelled, never persecuted by the state. Mosques next to temples, church bells next to azans, gurudwaras feeding anyone who walks in. Then comes caste, an ancient social system layered over modern democracy. Complex, sensitive, uncomfortable, yet still coexisting with universal voting rights. One constitution, one election system, one army, one currency. 1.4 billion people arguing in 100 voices, yet lining up to vote, accepting court verdicts, changing governments without civil war. Think about that. In most countries, 2 cultures clash and the nation shakes. In India, 20 cultures clash daily, and the train still runs tomorrow morning. Is it perfect? No. Is it noisy? Absolutely. Is it messy? Always. But the real miracle is this. India is not held together by sameness. It survives because of tolerance. Not because everyone agrees, but because everyone somehow accepts that disagreement is part of the deal. You don't manage India by force. You manage it by balance, compromise, and chaos control. And the fact that it's still standing, still democratic, still one nation, that's not luck. That's one of the greatest political and social experiments humanity has ever attempted.
So that, my friends, was just to give you an overview of the mammoth size of the market, the size of the country, the diversity of the people, before we really come in and zero in on the Gen Z, which is also an attractive number. Just to give you some notable bullet points here about the Indian market. We are the world's largest democracy, 7th largest country in the world, with a total area of 3.28 million square kilometers. We have 28 states, 8 union territories, and 23 languages. 51 official festivals, out of which 17 are national and 34 are regional. Obviously, with so many states, you have regional festivals. Further on, we host 10 million weddings per year. 90% of these are arranged. We have a population of 1.44 billion people. Over 65% are under the age of 35. Median age of an Indian is 28.4 years. Only 2 to 4% of the top of this pyramid, which is about 27 to 55 million people, are target for luxury brands from Europe. Today, there are 10 million active luxury consumers. This gap is where the market is likely to grow into very, very quickly, from 10 million to about 55 million. That's the market size that we are looking at. In terms of GDP, Indian economy is growing at an average of 6.8% per annum, and it targets to be a 26 trillion economy with a per capita of $15,000 per head by 2047. That's the target set by the government to become a developed nation. Further inputs, what will happen to the Gen Z by 2030? Gen Z will be 27% of India's population, $1.3 trillion in consumption powers, 25% of the total workforce, and with a 9.7% growth of digital economy, Gen Z will fuel the convergence of readiness and spending power. So you see, that's the economy that we are looking at. Thus, India is no longer a market of the future. It's the engine of the present, with profound cultural and economic renaissance taking place, which are impacting not only India but the global world. We are reshaping the global luxury industry playbook. And while the Western luxury navigates normalization, India is accelerating. Finally, we come to the 12 pillars of India's Gen Z luxury renaissance. And I want to put a disclaimer at the bottom of the slide that all these are data points as latest as March 26, earlier part of March 26, and they're taken from Red Sea, CII, ET Snapchat, Gen Z Index, and the India Skills Report. I've gone through so many reports to bring out 12 pillars which could be of value to the luxury brands wanting to come into India. Pillar number one, the real currency. Authenticity has replaced aspiration. Now, you might say this is happening all over the world. True that it is happening all over the world, that the current generation is looking at being ethical, looking at being transparent, and looking at being authentic. So what's really happening in India? Real is the most valuable currency for the next generation of Indian consumers because they are acutely allergic to scripted endorsements, curated feeds, and manufacturer responses. From aspiration of selling status using celebrity endorsements, they are quickly moving to aspiration, which is embodying values, voice, and genuine cultural relevance. They ask from the brands as, who are you really? Authenticity and immediately. That is what they are seeking. They are seeking answers for who you are, the meaning or the purpose of the brand. Influencers are out, micro-influencers are emerging in. This is what is really happening as a result of the real currency authenticity being asked. So Gen Z is craving for connections over broadcast, community over reach. So micro-personalization, you cannot just broadcast a message anymore to the Gen Z as a common message. Pillar number two, the Euro 12 ceiling. Gen Z is spending half of what millennials do. This is really true, and I've observed it with real eyes. And I'm sure most of you would have been noticing that what's really happening around in Asia is that more and more younger people are buying from the lower rung of the luxury brands. And I would say essentially beauty. So beauty is really becoming the core pillar. It is no longer just one of the pillars, but is becoming a core pillar. Why are they spending only half of millennials? Because they are buying more and they are buying more frequently. So if a Gen Z was spending 24 euros, the Gen Y was spending 24 euros, Gen Z is spending only 12 euros. Their average fashion purchase sits below 12 euros. 6 to 10 top signaling sportswear brands live in the 6 to 12 bracket. So sports footwear is an important criteria, important segment category, but they all live within the 6 to 12 bracket. Fast fashion dominates the active wardrobe. I'm sure it's the same all over the world. So today's entry points with Gen Z is towards beauty, fragrance, and accessories. The future, the $3,000 handbag remains a future conversation, but the relationship that leads there will begin with a lipstick. So what was happening earlier, 2 decades back, was that you were entering with a high-priced bag. It's no more. You have to enter with beauty or something which is at a low-hanging fruit level. And that's a fact. You would have probably noticed that most of the European luxury brands, whether it's a Prada, whether it's a Chanel, whether it's a Christian Dior, whether it's Armani, they have all opened their standalone beauty boutiques, and beauty is one of the fastest growing segments. I'll give you some statistics in the next slide. Strategic implication for brands. Gen Z is not a current revenue stream for our hard luxury. They are a decade-long investment in brand relationship. So smart brands have realized that we need to start building relationships with the Indian Gen Z at the lowest hanging fruit, which is probably a beauty product or a lipstick in the range of 10 to 12 euro. That's the sweet spot at which most of the sales are happening, whether it's fashion or footwear, but primarily beauty. This is not discouraging. It is strategic intelligence that I'm sharing with you based on all the deep dive that are done with the reports that I mentioned to you. Pillar number three, as I said, the BPC boom, the beauty and personal care. Because today aesthetics has become identity. And all of you would have probably witnessed the boom of Instagram or TikTok. I mean, India TikTok is banned, but Instagram Reels is as effective and YouTube Shorts is as effective. So beauty and aesthetics is becoming extremely important with respect to people wanting to look good all the time. 1 in 2 Gen Z women allocate over 20% of their disposable income towards beauty. $19 billion is the projected size of beauty and personal care by 2030. For previous generations, beauty was utility. For Gen Z, it's an identity investment. So, I mean, the multicolored hair that you're looking at and various personal endorsements that people are wearing, adornments that people are wearing on their nose or their lips or their tongue, etc., is all part of this particular segment. So the traditional beauty as a gateway to handbags model is obsolete. Earlier, as I said, 2 decades back, beauty was part of the collection that was being brought into the country by the brand. It is no more. Today, beauty is the core pillar and it is demanding same strategic weight at the cost of as most of exclusive leather goods. Hence, standalone beauty stores are opening all over the country, whereas the main flagship boutiques are coming up only in the metro cities. Pillar number four, the men's beauty revolution, the masculine beauty revolution. The men's skincare searches have surged by 850%. It's not a small number, but in the recent past, men are looking for beauty products. The searches have gone up by 850%. So beauty businesses which were operating in the old binary method of men's segment separate and women's segment separate is no longer applicable. You have to dissolve the boundaries and you have to create a new paradigm which is seamless for men's and women or genderless beauty products, as you can say. So the old model, a segregated men's section treated as an afterthought, minimal SKUs, generic messaging. That is what was being done when it came to the men's section. The new reality, its self-expression, transcends genders. Binary categories are dissolving in real time across India's metro and tier 1 cities. It's a nationwide movement. So brands that continue to segregate by binary categories will find themselves speaking to an empty room. The 850% signal is only the beginning. This is the initial stages. This is likely to move up at a much faster pace. Pillar number 5, the luxury solopreneur, when the creator becomes the brand. So this is a movement I'm sure it's being witnessed worldwide, but more so in India because of the sheer size of our celebrities, our content creators, I would say our influencers, they all becoming brands by themselves. Some are launching beauty brands, some are launching lifestyle brands, some are launching footwear brands. They are getting more prominence to the faceless corporate brand because today, as we saw in pillar number 1 or 2, that people are looking at authenticity and people are looking at connectivity. So once you have a celebrity or a solopreneur as a brand, there is immediate connection between the values of the individual and the values of the particular brand. So that's another reality check which is beginning to happen very, very massively in India with the Gen Z. So the faceless corporate brand is yielding to the sovereign individual, creatives, consultants, content creators who are brands in their own right. Micro influencers now drive more trust than traditional celebrities. Their recommendations prioritize genuine experience over mass market appeal. Traditional celebrity had a mass reach, no personal trust and touch. Luxury solopreneur, they are co-creators and equal brand collaborators, whereas the winners are the micro-influencers where they have community trust and genuine experience. So that's a new drive that is beginning to happen very, very rapidly. Pillar number 6, the IRL imperative. IRL stands for in real life. So people are tired of only digital experience. We have had enough of that during the COVID. Statistics are revealing that more and more Gen Z are going back to the malls. So while they continue to search online, they continue to take the experience online using technology as a base. But for the final purchase, they want to get entertained and they want to have a real life experience in the mall or with a designer. So the paradox of Gen Z, the most digitally native generation in history, is now craving for real life experiences. They want to be invited for the invite atelier visits. They want bespoke wellness retreats, and they look for dinners hosted by the designer so they can engage with them. Digital discovery, yes, it's a game changer. Or augmented reality try-ons, virtual walkthroughs, social proof. But the physical validation, the IRL moment that converts belief into purchase. So people don't want to believe just the digital experience. In the era of AIs, a lot of things can be faked digitally. So people want to come and have the physical experience. What does it mean? That 62% of the Gen Z say AR demos make a product more believable. Tech is a gateway to physical validation, not a replacement. Hence, they do want to continue to engage with the brand or with the designer offline in real life. Pillar number 7, the niche sovereignty, heritage beyond from heritage to hybrid. What's really started emerging in most markets, including China as well as in India, is that Western luxury is not being taken for granted anymore. People have started recognizing their sovereignty, their craft, their culture, and there is a hybridization of luxury consumption that is being rapidly evolving. How is it evolving? Because Indian consumers are no longer buying European heritage exclusively. They are asserting that Indian luxury deserves a place at the global table. And I would say by example through what Prada has been doing, or some other brands have been doing, that they've been using Indian craft without giving credit to India. That is what has created a backlash, and the Gen Z is coming back with a big bang. Indian craft renaissance, independent watchmakers in Bengaluru, textile revivalists and master weavers in Varanasi. Bilingual luxury fluency, so French fragrance paired with Indian jewelry, Chanel jacket styled with traditional jutis. Jutis is for footwear, and the hybridization culture. So no rejection of heritage, but fusion. So brands must be equally fluent in both cultural languages. So that's what is really happening, that the global heritage of French Maison fragrances is being matched with a Bengaluru watch maker or a Jaipur watch. Classic Chanel is being matched with a Varanasi textile, or European luxury houses are being paired with independent Indian designers. So that's how the hybrid luxury consumption is taking shape in India, where Indian brands are also coming up at a very, very rapid pace. Pillar number 8, the 18-month wall, no loyalty without evolution. This is a very interesting phenomena, and what has been observed is through the reports is that the Gen Z is operating in 6-month windows. So 0 to 6 month is to really get to know the brand, get comfortable with the brand. 6 to 12 months start repeating their purchases. 12 to 18 months start looking at further relationship development or evolution. If in the 18 months they don't find any evolution, they move on. So loyalty is restricted to a very short period of time. Those eras where generations stuck to the brand are rapidly being replaced by the younger generation, which is impatient and reckless. They need some kind of a collaborative effort very, very quickly. This is happening not only with brands but with jobs too. So the young ones are changing their jobs if they don't find any evolution within 18 months. So that's the cycle that I explained to you about. So Gen Z professionals refuse to stay in roles or remain loyal to brands beyond the 18 to 24 months bracket without visible evolution. They want to see evolution in their learning, they want to see evolution in their relationship, they want to see evolution in the value that is being brought to them. The faithful customer model where generations remain loyal to a single maison is dead. So, what should the brands do? If a brand does not offer something new every 18 months, a collection, a collaboration, a conversation, a point of view, they will move on. So, how will you retain your customer without evolving is a challenge that the brands have to live up to. So, you need to maintain a rhythm of cultural relevance. Treat heritage as a foundation, but not as a shield. Build continuously, not cyclically. You cannot just build on a long cycle. Heritage is no longer a shield, it is a foundation upon which you must build, but build continuously. Because the young generation is impatient. Pillar number 9, the strategy of conscience from karma to ESG. All of you know that India, we Indians believe in the life after death, the karma. So whatever good you do comes back to you, whatever bad you do comes back to you. How are they merging duty with the modern day ESG or DIE practices is the new pillar that brands can focus on. So modern consumers uniquely blending traditional values of dharma, which is duty, with modern ESG standards, creating a powerful expectation that luxury brands must stand for something beyond beautiful products. So while they look for aesthetics, they also want purpose. So we just cannot have only purpose without aesthetics, or we cannot have only aesthetics without purpose. Conspicuous consumption. So you must flex your label status through your acquisition and visibility, but also conscious contribution. Flex your values, ethics as the foundation of a brand license to operate, because the young ones are looking at a combination of the two. The supply chain is part of the product story. So where was it made? By whom was it made? Under what conditions? These are the questions that the Gen Z is continuously asking the brand, and it is best for the brand to volunteer these questions before they are asked. Pillar number 10, tech as utility. So while it was believed during and post-COVID that technology is going to become ever supreme when it comes to customer experience, well, it is a fact that it did come to a peak, but today it is now being brought towards relevance. So it's not only spectacle, it is about spectacle, it is about service. How can technology be of good service to us? How can AI make our life easier rather than just dazzling us with spectacle? That's the question that is being asked. 80% AR adoption of Gen Z shoppers are using AR try-ons before purchase. 40% of the workforce uses AI in their day-to-day life. But there is 0% tolerance for spectacle. I don't need AI to blow my mind. I need it to save me time, is what the Gen Z is narrating. So, what should the brand do? They have to realize that the Gen Z are pragmatists, they are not technologists. They invest in tech that enhance experience invisibly, seamless payments, intelligent recommendations, frictionless service. So, this is where the brand should be investing in terms of making the life and the conversion process simpler. Again, it comes down to how much patience do the Gen Z have. So, if you can have several payment mechanism which is seamless and there is frictionless, AI for intelligent recommendations, and there is a seamless service from online to offline. Technology should be used in that spaces. Pillar number 11 is the 62% mobility factor. Service in a high turnover world. So this is again important. What we said in the earlier pillars was that people move, if they don't see any evolution in the period of 18 to 24 months, they move. But the repercussion of that for luxury could be disastrous, because luxury believes in long-term relationship building. And that's where we are saying that 62% of Indian young people are in the zone of 1 to 10 years of professional experience, and they move within the 18 to 24 months bracket. But that's a challenge for luxury brands. So what should the brands be doing? So 62% of new roles in India are filled by professionals with 1 to 10 years of experience who rarely stay beyond the 2 years period. So what will the brands do? Imagine for a Euro 1000 a night hotel, this means that your front desk manager is already looking for a change. In such a case, your institutional knowledge is dissipating, repeat guest relationship is fracturing, service standards, the very essence of luxury, are collapsing. So the brands need to invest money in technology to ensure that you're not people dependent. You're not dependent on an individual. So you must systemize your excellence so it doesn't depend on any single individual. Technology must augment young employees, not replace veteran intuition. So that's the combination that the brand needs to sort of work on. The last pillar, the long bet. Now, this particular pillar evolves from research made with Tata Click, which is the most used luxury e-commerce platform in India. Data there shows that 20% of their customers are Gen Z customers from a pan-India basis. Now, this is proof of the fact that those brands which are servicing these 20% of the audience are already experimenting with them for the long goal. So brands who want to enter India and make a long time strategy for India, they must invest now and they must come in now, because by the time Gen Z really comes into the purchasing power, you will need to invest 8 to 10 years. So the beginning should be done now. So 20% of Tata Click luxury customers are already Gen Z, buying today, forming relationships that will define luxury for decades. They are not waiting to mature into traditional luxury. They are experimenting now, testing values, building mental archives of which houses understand them. So the relationship beginning is already happening at this point in time. So brands must invest now in understanding them, show up authentically, respect their intelligence, inherit the 1.3 trillion future. The brands that wait will find doors closed. So, more and more brands are rushing in because yes, India is a huge market. The opportunity is really, very large. But at the same time, is the first mover advantage and a late mover disadvantage that you're playing against. So what's the strategic verdict of these 12 pillars? Use India as a muse, not merely a market. That's the most important takeaway for brand, participants of the webinar today who are actually brand owners. That you cannot use India only as a market. Look at India as a muse, because in 2026, India is not a market to enter. It's a lab where the future of global luxury is being invented. What emerges here will migrate to New York, London, Paris, and Tokyo. Are you learning from India or merely trying to sell to it? Let Indian creativity and authenticity shape your global strategy. That's the first strategic verdict. Heritage to hybrid. So, from status to substance, from aspiration to inspiration, the vocabulary of luxury is being rewritten, as we saw in the previous slides, that people are looking now at substance as well. And finally, the route runs both ways. The Silk Route too is open. The caravans are moving both directions, carrying not silk, but meaning, authenticity, and the future of desire. That's really what is really the strategic verdict of all these 12 pillars. How do it apply to French brands? The paradox of France. So, why India reveres French luxury but on its own terms? So, there is no doubt that French luxury is highly respected in India because it's the gold standard, and nearly 35 to 40% of the brands in India are French brands. Yet, today, the Gen Z is questioning that the brands need to come in on our terms and not on their own terms. The first generation of brands they came in and started coming in 2002, 2003, they came in on their terms. But today, after 20 odd years, the market is changing. Paradox, the French heritage remains the gold standard of global luxury. There's absolutely no doubt in that. Paris is still the undisputed capital of aspiration. French houses lead India's luxury market today. But the reality check, Indian reputation is non negotiable. Legacy earns respect, but relevance earns entry. So if you want to enter the market now, you need to become relevant to this Gen Z. India is becoming the global lab for luxury's future. What is tested here will travel to London, Paris, New York, and Tokyo. The brands that will stay leaders must co-create with Indian culture. They do not import Paris unchanged. So whatever, if you're bringing whatever is selling in France as is, chances are you will face certain challenges or pushbacks. 35 to 40% of the market share is held by French houses, LV, Kering, Hermes, L'Oreal, Lux, etc., etc. I mean, L'Oreal Lux has also just bought out Indian beauty brand, as you're all aware. The brand that wins in India learns to speak with an Indian accent while never losing its French soul. So we need to sort of merge the cultures. That's really the strategic realization or key takeaway from this particular research that I've done for you. The Gen Z in India, they have three demands, and one of them is non-negotiable. What Indian Gen Z expects from French brands? Number one, authenticity without condensation. So please don't look down upon us. We understand luxury better, if not better, as well as you. So don't try to teach us luxury. Try to partner with us. So don't explain luxury to us. We grew up with it. We want partnership, not pedagogy. So Indian Gen Z does not need education on your heritage. They need to see it become relevant to their lives. So how are you going to sort of change their lives? Number two, access at the entry point, because the spending power today is in the range of 8 to 12 euros. So if you can access the market at that entry point, you probably have a great future. The 12 to 50 euro gateway is where relationships will begin. Beauty, fragrance, accessories are the first chapters of a decade-long relationship, not afterthoughts. And number three, respect for Indian craft. Collaborate, not cultural appropriation. So, as you know, in the recent past, we have had some cultural appropriation challenges with several of the top-notch brands, and hence the Gen Z is pushing back, saying that you have to respect our craft. So, NG can spot token knots. They want French ateliers working with Indian master weavers. Sustained commitment, not one-off marketing stunts. That's what they are looking at. And what is non-negotiable? Non-negotiable is speed, because the Indian Gen Z moves at a digital pace. Cultural relevance is measured in weeks, not fiscal quarters. So if French brands take 6 months to approve a collaboration, they will lose relevance before they even arrive. So Indian Gen Z is, we are technically far a little more agile as the rest of the world. Hence, we are looking at speed, and that is non-negotiable. So once you make up your mind within the next 6 months, you must already be in the market. So closing thoughts, if I summarize of what I spoke about for the last 30 odd minutes, India's market evolution is not just about products, it's about a cultural renaissance. The next decades will see India becoming a luxury mindset where luxury is not bought, but it is lived. In India, luxury isn't just defined by the product or brand alone, it is an experience, something intangible that transcends the tangible product. To conclude, the Indian luxury market is not just an opportunity, it's a movement. But are you ready to be a part of it? So you need to start preparing now. Indian luxury market, how we can help at Luxury Connect? We can help you with entry strategy. We can help you with consumer insights and market research. We can help you with bespoke market dive, private one-to-one consultations, exclusive industry reports, brand localization efforts, compliance advisory, skilling and talent search. About us, in a nutshell, we are a single window from strategy to skilling, and we operate in 4 different business verticals. The first one is Luxury Connect, which is into strategy, advisory, compliance, and skilling. The second one is LCBS, Luxury Connect Business School, which is India's first and only luxury MBA school. The third one is the Design Studio, which is into designs and aesthetics. And the fourth one is Luxury Crux, which is into research, media, and publications. And in case you want to dig deeper, please check this. That's a book written by me, launched in 2020. Statistics would have changed, but the model of the story remains the same. The Incredible Indian Luxury Bazaar, which is a complete guide to the mystical Indian luxury paradox. Let's continue the conversation. Reach out, connect. Those are my coordinates, and I'm happy to take questions now.
Uh, Okay, thank you very much, Abhay. So it was great. Like even me, I have been working on this subject since long, but it's different than what we have seen till now. Very insightful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so before passing the questions to the public participants, I have noted some questions from my side. So I'll take maybe 10 minutes to ask all these. So we see, at least in the West, there is a rise of Indian beauty brands who are inspired by Ayurveda.
Sure.
So
what's the question?
So is it same on the Indian side or it's gone? The question is how, like on the West side, we see that people are going towards more and more natural ingredients when we talk of beauty sector. Is it the same on the Indian side, or they are still going more to untraditional cosmetic brands?
No, so I think the shift is more towards natural beauty. Everything natural is what is being looked at, and I think that's one of the reason why L'Oreal has just bought out Kama Ayurveda, as you know. So the Indian youth is also looking for natural products. But as I said, there is still a lot of experimentation happening in India, because the spread using digital mediums for commerce is rapidly evolving, and beauty products are being shipped through I mean, the rise of the Sephoras, the Nykas, the Tias, and the all the brands getting into the beauty space is a proof of that in itself.
Yeah, perfect. So another really interesting question on my side is how do you like as we see all these shifts in the need of Gen Z and the creation of Gen Z and how to say the preferences of this new consumer, is it Indian or is it coming from because we see the same thing happening in China, we see the same thing happening in France. So is it coming from outside, or is it different than what is happening in the West or in China, or it's the same thing? It's a global effect happening in India.
No, so my research is based on the reports that I mentioned in my slides. So this is all based on reports which are carried out with Indian Gen Z, and you can find those reports online, and you can deep dive if you want. It's I would say that in today's day and age where everyone is digitally connected, there is definitely a cultural influence which is cross national, across geography, and people of the same age bracket think alike. So I would say that while there is similarity, this report is purely based on what has been reported by those market reports that I mentioned about for the Indian
Okay.
Gen Z.
Okay. So I'll leave the questions to participants. So there is something. There is a new message. Let me see. Yeah. So there is Shrutika who is asking a questions.
Hi, Shrutika.
Shrutika, do you want to activate your microphone and ask it directly? Let me find you. On demand activity. Okay. Yes, Shrutika, go on. If you, I can't. Okay. So she can't. I'll pass it to.
So what's the
So
question?
let me see.
Faithful customer model. Is this the question?
Yeah, it's in the comment section. So, since the Indian luxury mindset is moving from buying to living the experience, how crucial do you see the role of bespoke high events in helping global brands build their intangible culture with Gen Z in India?
No, can you repeat the question?
Yes.
Bespoke events.
How crucial do you see the role of bespoke and high-end events? Like, how do you see the high-end events by brands to build their cultural capital with Gen Z? The role of events in building cultural capital in India.
No, so I think the events are important because we also realize that they are looking at IRL, the in real time luxury. So with the events, you have an opportunity to engage with the Gen Z on a one to one basis to be able to transmit the message without any communication error. So events will always remain important.
Can you give some examples? That means, what kind of events may work and for whom? Like if it's Dior, they have a lot of budget, and the population of client is very small. When it's a beauty brand, we can't. It's more difficult to do some same type of event that Chanel or Dior can do. So, what events do you have in mind?
No, so beauty brands, I mean, typical the makeover events are being organized by beauty brands all over the
Okay.
country because, as you said, India is a large country, and and Gen Z is spread all over. So you need to pick out geographical, let's say, target cities where your audience is possibly there, and you can actually conduct your makeover and the benefit communication events on a live basis.
Okay, there is Celine who would like to ask some question though. So at the beginning, she was saying something after we started.
Hello, everybody. And
Hello,
Go on,
so
Celine.
Celine.
I'm so sorry for the issue with the the audio, the mic. Well, of course, yes, I've got many questions because I've been working for 27 years in the luxury industry, in high jewelry for 12 years, and high couture, haute couture, for a couple of years. So I have a, let's say, it's like echoing. Um, how can I stop the echo?
No, it's okay. We can hear you. Like, go
It's
on. It's
just
okay.
disturbing for me. It's okay. So what I've been observing for many decades is that the traditional luxury from Occident, from France, is based on temporality, desirability, rarity. And I think we have been approaching, we are turning a shift right now between an old continent, Occident continent, saturated with all the inputs we give them about the luxury. Now we see that there are now evolving markets, new evolving markets, and that are very interesting for luxury. But the codes are really changing. And how can luxury reconciliate or anticipate the explosion of so multicultural generation with problem of identity? They don't know how to yet see themselves. So how can we impact them on a luxury point of view? You said they are testing, but luxury is about time, is about storytelling. So it's kind of what my question is how can luxury industries can shift and no focus on their transmission, but understanding now the behavior of the new gens, which is not really, doesn't mean really stable. Well, when you see in Occident, the younger generation are not really stable, or they are searching for other meanings. And in such complex world with emerging country with luxury, and as you said, many culturals. Wow, I'm so impressed with all you said about India. And then I'm thinking, wow, it's going to be a big challenge for the luxury to scale in this world, keeping their authenticity. So, what is the real shift that can do luxury to integrate this new change, new shift totally? Identity, geopolitics, because supply chain is very good point as well, um, and trust with the luxury brands that there is a real partnership and a willing to, because I like very much what you said. You said India like is like news, and how to reveal this all this impression and making the craftsmanship of India great. It's many questions actually, but the topic is so huge.
Celine, if I can sort of
Yeah, yeah.
summarize a question that
Yes, of course.
your challenge does not seem to be about the cross-cultural challenges, but your question seems to be more about the younger generation and how will luxury get a handle on the younger generation. Well, all I can say is that luxury has survived as an industry, it has always found ways and means to remain relevant with the changing population for the past hundreds of years. So it's not a new challenge that we have. A Gen Z is a name that we have given. I mean, if you go 10 years, 15 years into history, who would have ever thought that streetwear could come into luxury? So luxury always evolves and luxury always sort of adapts to the changing consumer. So I don't see it a problem. I see I see a problem in the mindset where maybe a traditional brand does not want to evolve and accept that the emerging markets have become as important as the matured markets. So there is a mindset issue in terms of the old management practices. But I engage with young people all throughout. I mean, that's my job, and I don't see that challenge with the young people. They are very happy to marry the cultures and create a cross-border kind of a relationship. So I'm not worried about the future of luxury.
That's very good. Thank you very much. But then it's going to be a question of governance, strategic
Absolutely.
governance.
Absolutely, right? So
And
architectural, you have to architect
of
your
course,
brand first, and maybe the codes need to be adjusted to the changing times.
yes. And with all this complexity on the geopolitical,
Oh, it's a passing phase. That's a passing phase,
logis.
yeah.
Sorry.
I think that's a very passing phase. It's something which is happening now, but it will, the world will come out of it.
It's temporary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And what about what do you think about the luxury houses relationship with ER?
Yeah.
Relationship with, sorry.
AI.
Relationship. Well, how do you think that there are luxury houses that are going to take the risk because introducing ER, IE, sorry, in luxury is very complicating about compliance, about many things, and so how luxury are approaching luxury.
I think as we spoke in the slides also that you have to use technology as an enabler because luxury is all about human relations. So we cannot completely depend on technology, but if we use technology to make our relationship more deeper with respect to hyper personalization in terms of predicting what the customer is likely to like, making the life easier for the sales associate. I think that much AI is going to help, and I think it's already in place with respect to predictive analytics in terms of supply chain management and in governance areas. So use of AI in terms of management practices, definitely it's a great enabler.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, we go
So
to the next.
there are other questions. So there is Reed Singh who would like to ask some questions. Before that, we have another question. It's how Indian handloom and handicraft can evolve in luxury market.
So great question, Kumar Gu. Sorry, I couldn't read properly. Kumar, I'll
Kasina,
call you Kumar.
Kasina
Yeah,
Kumara Guru.
Yeah, Kumar.
yeah, Kumar.
Yeah, so great question, Kumar. So Indian handloom, by virtue of the fact that it is handmade, it is luxury by definition. What is really, what is missing in the Indian handloom sector is that we have not created the brand. So you need to first create a brand, and the narrative is to come from the brand, which means we basically define the architecture of the brand first. And once you do that, then creeping into the luxury domain will not be a problem. There are many such instances of pashmina or pashma or such products from India which have successfully penetrated the luxury business. What has happened in the past is that we remained the producers for the world and we never came forward in creating a brand. And today, more and more young people from the craft sector are creating brand. I myself had students. I mean, I do a program on luxury brand builders. I've had students from Philippines. I've had students from Indonesia and from down south in the same sector in handloom. And I can put you in touch with him. You should speak to him because he's really systematically building a brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Kumar.
Okay, Reed.
Hello, hi.
Hi, Deep.
First of all, thank you, Mr. Gupta. That was really insightful. But
Thank you.
I'm pursuing my master's in France, and it was about luxury. And while
Sure.
working on my thesis, I read that with Gen Z, there is this culture of thrifting that has, gained a lot of popularity because for them it is economical, and they feel that they are not, consuming irresponsibly. Has this
Sure.
reached India as well?
That is true, but is it really? Can you sort of list it as part of a luxury domain? That remains a challenge. Are the young people sort of participating in thrift stores? Yes, they are. I know of young students who have who have approached my school for admission, but they didn't join because they were so busy or happy with the thrifting culture. So that thrift is becoming a big business, but can you call it luxury? I think today that's really a challenge because reusable luxury or second-hand luxury is thriving, and that is different than thrift. So thrift is really, in terms of, to best of my knowledge, picking up pieces which have been abandoned by people or by factories or by brands, and they're trying to put together a collection. Whereas reusable luxury is someone trying to sell value, or selling it cheaper to get some money out of the system, or you're bored with the product that you had for so long, and then you want to sort of bring some money to buy the latest. So that's where reusable luxury is coming in. So thrifting culture, yes, it is there in India, but is anyone doing it in the luxury domain? I am not aware of that.
Okay, I have one more question. So,
Sure.
in India, like when it comes to jewelry, it differs with region, and we still, have this concept of getting our jewelries customized. So, does this
Sure.
pose as a challenge to the luxury brands because they do not have that very concept? So, and how do they navigate through it?
So great question. I mean, so Cartier has been in India, I think, if I'm not mistaken, since 2008, and I think their primary revenue resource still remains watches and perfumes, and not the jewelry, because as you rightly said, as Indians we value the amount of metal that has gone in, and we don't value the design element of that. But I think Bulgari cracked the code by bringing in Mangal Sutra and then the Kada. So the answer to this lies in what Bulgari did, that, and what I also said in the slides, that the Gen Z is looking for a marriage of local, cultural, craft based designs into a global hierarchical system. That can be the solution, because today, mind you, it is not India which is the largest market, but Indians are one of the largest consumers, including the diaspora overseas. So brands like a Bulgari, which have realized that if you want to target the Indians, you need to target the soft spot, and that's why the Priyanka Chopras and the Anshuman, I forget his name, the cinestar that we have. So using them as brand ambassadors, or so the answer for these brands lies in terms of adapting iconic Indian jewelry items, which are going to be essentially a part of every man or woman's wardrobe, and converting them into branded pieces of luxury, which people will consume.
Okay, and
Perfect.
one last
Yeah.
question, actually. So while I was doing my internship, there was this Indian group that had approached that agency. They wanted to launch their luxury skincare brand in India. The
Mhm.
brand is Indian, the products will be Indian, but they wanted to, portray that the brand has French standards, which shows because as per them, they were like that they were targeting the wealthy sector, and to them
Mhm.
the French standards speak more than the Indian standards. So now, if when they were discussing, they were talking about anti-aging and everything. So of course they are not targeting Gen Z, but
Sure.
as we discussed that Gen Z will be the next group, will they be
Sure.
able to connect with Gen Z then?
So, I mean, as you said, right now the target audience is not Gen Z, but the moms of Gen Z, moms or grandmas of Gen Z. So, I
Mhm.
think the marketing relevance needs to be with respect to which is going to be your revenue target, and then you have to create your communication around that. But if they are bringing in products for the Gen Z, like a lipstick or something, I'm sure the brand should bring in certain products which will target also the Gen Z, and not only anti-aging serums, because then it'll get too, let's say, too classified into a silos. So that would be my suggestion. Rest, of course, I mean, one needs to know a lot more behind
Yeah.
what they want to do, and then only I could sort of, guide you.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Okay,
Reed.
perfect. There is a question, but I have not understood what does it mean. It's from Fahik. He says, Q strategy to convert luxury product sale. Faki, can you describe your question?
This is iPhone 16.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's pass to the next one while waiting. So there is Loriane who is asking, according to you, how could French people learn the Indian etiquette to work with Indian people properly? I could either I could be either French brand wanting to enter Indian market for French boutiques or hotel welcoming Indian visitor. That means she is a French brand who'd like to go to India. It could be in a boutique or in a hotel. So according to you, Abhay, how could French people
To
learn the Indian etiquette?
work with Indian people properly, I would be either French brands wanting to enter the Indian market or French boutique. I could be. Okay. Well, so, I mean, when Indians can learn French etiquette and French way of life, I'm sure the French can learn Indian way of life. And there are, I don't have the statistics, but we have a large expat population in India which have adopted the Indian way of life, and they don't want to go back to the respective homes. So we are a very easygoing race, and we will welcome you with open arms, and we will teach you our way of life, because as I showed you in the video, that we are a civilization and we welcome everyone. We have so many different races and not nationality, so many races within the Indian community, and we have a lot of, let's say, overseas races also living with us. So welcome, Lorian. We'll be happy to guide you through this.
Perfect. So there is another question coming up. Okay. Does herbal supplements could be a luxury thing to Gen Z when communicated right? Uh, according to you, it's Ganesh Kankanala who is asking, does herbal supplements could be a luxury thing to Gen Z?
Well, it depends on the value. I mean, you're right that generically speaking, it's a commodity product, but then also the Kama Yuga Vedas of the world are example that you can position yourself, or you can communicate yourself. It's a basically of how do you build a brand architecture. That is where is important. You're talking about product, and I'm talking about brand. So you have to differentiate yourself and create a brand first. And if you architect the brand and you have the purpose, the hierarchy, the codes, and the meaningness of the brand, I think it should not be a challenge.
Perfect. So I see there are no more other questions, but generally we had great questions and people are appreciating it. So thank you very much, Abhay. It was even for
Thank
me,
you.
it was I learned a lot of things, a lot of insights.
Thank
A
you. Thank you.
passionate webinar. So thank you very much. Thanks everyone to have participated to this wonderful webinar. We have your mail. We'll be sending you this recording if you need. And thanks everyone. Have a great day. Have a great afternoon in India and in France. Thank you.
Thank
Bye
you. Bye
bye.
bye. Bye bye.